I listened to a podcast called My First Million, which is hosted by two hosts. So we have Sean and we have Sam. I sent him a video and I wanted some marketing advice because I'm a very technical person and I don't really have marketing skills. And he said, yeah, look, the Watch the Loom is a cool product for sure. That's good. Nice. And this was just to show you the date. This was in 2023, right? So, and this was when we actually had the MVP. But the same thing I said to Sean, right, which is if there is anything you want AI or OpenSpeech to do that will make you, the creator, the listener, go, wow, let me know and I will build it in a weekend, probably. Hi there, guys. So today I want to show a tool that I've been building for about a year and a half with my brother. So this tool basically takes any audio data and converts it into written, the text transcript, but also does some more things such as gives you some analytics on the audio itself, and you can actually get some content. Oh, thumbs up. And you can actually generate content from the audio data. So here we can see that from that audio, the transcript, I generated a LinkedIn post and some quiz questions. So this transcript is actually a conversation between Lex and Aravind, which is, he is the CEO of Perplexity. And one thing is, all I did was take the URL, place it into OpenSpeech, and within a few minutes, I was able to get this transcript, able to get this detailed analytics, and I was able to also create this content type. And you create various different content types. The one I chose was LinkedIn posts, but this is a cool thing, and which is the chat that allows you to have a conversation with the transcript. So in this video, I'm going to tell you about OpenSpeech, tell you about why I created it, the reasoning around it, and essentially where I'm going with it. So stay tuned. I used to have a podcast maybe about 2 years ago, and this podcast was a tech podcast, technology, AI, and data podcast, where I spoke to some interesting people in machine learning, and really these conversations were great, and I'm very grateful for these people taking the time out of their day to speak with me. And all of these people are each are very amazing in their own rights, and they're very intelligent people within the machine learning and the data industry. I got burnt out doing this podcast because doing a podcast has there is a lot of work that goes into it. There is the pre-work, which is where you do the research, you try to get the guest on, you formulate a question, you send it to the guest for approval, and you tweak the questions based on feedback from the guest. And then there is the work you do during the podcast. And then there is the post work, which is editing, fixing all the audio, making sure the podcast comes out really well when you're doing the editing. And then there's the distribution of the podcast to other channels and the creation of other content from the podcast, such as LinkedIn posts, articles. But all that is to say, I burnt out very quickly. So I did about 14 episodes and I think I had about 5 in the backlog, but I really got burnt out from mostly the post work aspect of doing a podcast. I guess that's why people have teams. But I didn't have the funding to get a massive team. And although I enjoyed this conversation, it really was taking a lot of time and I was getting burnt out. So I did the next best thing, which is I looked at AI to solve my problem. And one thing I did, which I will demo to you right now, is create a tool that can help me streamline at least some of the post work I was doing, which included converting this podcast episode into articles, into LinkedIn posts, into Medium articles that or tweets that I can share to get more listeners. And I'll show you the process of OpenSpeech, and I'll talk about what OpenSpeech is and what the plan is for OpenSpeech. So as you can see, I've already uploaded this audio, the one I just showed, but we can do it from scratch. So this is the homepage of OpenSpeech. Let me zoom this in. Yeah, zoom out. Okay, so this is the homepage of OpenSpeech. And this UI was created by my brother. He's a web developer and he's got a very good attention to detail. So as you can see, you can upload an audio URL link, and this is a YouTube. You could put a YouTube or Vimeo link. We did play around with Spotify, but I think there was some errors with it. And you can record audio. And one thing I found is I wanted to just record some audio, then generate content from it. I could talk more about this later. But another thing you could do is you can actually just upload audio files. So MP3, MP4 files, you can just drag and drop it in. But let's do the audio, the YouTube link. So one thing, the way it works is you just go here, you copy and paste the YouTube link from the video, and you paste it in, and you click submit. So right now, what's happening is on the back end, I actually have some algorithms that are extracting the audio from the YouTube video. First we do a conversion, then we do an audio extraction. And this process can take some time depending on the length of the video. But once this process is done, we move on to processing the video. So by processing, what we're doing is converting the audio into transcript, doing speaker diarization, speaker detection, extracting audio analytics, and doing all the cool stuff we can do with AI, which is generate content as well. But one thing I'm looking into OpenSpeech as I'm developing OpenSpeech is to actually simplify to reduce the processing time and the extraction of audio time. And you see a bug here actually where although it says the upload is completed, it's not really completed. This signifies the audio being placed into the cloud storage, but the audio is still processing because this tool actually uses something called vector search or semantic search to power the chat system within the transcript page. And what that means is there's an additional processing step that takes the audio, breaks the transcript into chunks, and actually ingest it into a MongoDB database where I'm able to do things like vector search and store vector embeddings as well. So this is a bit of a technical, those are technical terminologies. You can see the rest of my videos just to get some insight into what things like what I just said is. So I'm mostly talking about the RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation architecture. But here you can see that the audio, the processing is officially completed. And then I can click into this. There are a few bugs in the system and I'm trying to work them out, but I want you guys to see what we have here. So we have the same transcript page that I showed before. I can see the media player is missing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the audio page and I'm going to click into it. And yeah, we have it there. Like I said, there's a few bugs here and there. We'll fix it, but it works, which is cool. So right here, we can see speaker one, and I believe that is Aravind, and speaker two is Lex Friedman, and we can play the audio.
Larry Page has inspired me in many other ways too.
Okay, so you can play the same audio you've uploaded on here, and we can see that the cursor moves along with the audio on the transcript. So speaker one is Aravind and speaker two is Lex Friedman. But what I can see here is this is another visual bug, which is speaker one here is actually places Lex Friedman on the analytics, but speaker one on the transcript is Aravind. So this is speaker one. I hope I'm not butchering the name. Aravind. Correct me if I'm wrong. But speaker one here is Lex, and speaker two is Aravind on analytics. And you can see Lex really speaks for a third of the time. Well, about a third. But and here we can see it really lets Aravind just talk, and he speaks for about 80% of the time. And here we can see the analytics. We have two, detects the number of speakers, detects the number of segments of the conversation, and we actually detect the speaking duration. So the speaking duration is 10 minutes and 7 seconds, but the video length is actually 10 minutes and 32 seconds. So the actual speaking time is 10 minutes and 7 seconds. So there's a few seconds of gaps in between. And then the amount of spoken words per minute, this is called pacing. For people that do maybe voice coaching, they might know what this means. So we can see Lex speaks at 186 and Aravind speaks much slower at 177. So slower speaking people are really show confidence. One thing I want to show you guys is the content that you could generate. I will just show you the chat, then I can then talk about what I'm planning to do with OpenSpeech and where I'm trying to take it to. So here is the content, and you can tell this is a fresh new audio. And let's generate, let's say, a LinkedIn post. I could just generate a content type, a LinkedIn post content type, and I could also select different perspective of the conversation in different tones as well. So we're just gonna let this load. So this is just, yeah, this is just basically talking about the conversation, and it's doing it in first person perspective, right? This is probably this coming from the perspective of Lex Fridman. Yeah, so in today's rapidly evolving landscape, understanding the foundational strategies, blah blah blah, I delve deep into the philosophies. So that's from the perspective of, I would say, Lex Fridman, but you can actually do it from a third person, so from your perspective, and you could then regenerate the content as well, to let the algorithm create brand new content from the transcript. And one thing I should mention is you can actually change the tone of the content generator, make it more humorous, sarcastic, formal, and this one is just purely professional. Profession is the default. This is quite long, but yeah, in an era, blah blah blah, the essence of Google strategy. Okay, another critical aspect discussed is the emphasis. Okay, they're really talking about Larry Page, and I guess how Google essentially. I've not watched the video, by the way. I just picked up a video from YouTube. So now let me show you this the third cool thing. One thing I observed was, as I was building this tool and creating this different content type, you can see that there's a lot of content types, and this content types really reflect what I was doing during my podcasting days, where I was creating YouTube timestamps, I was creating show notes, I was trying to take memorable quotes. But I realized there was so many content that I wanted to extract from the audio. I would basically exhaust a massive amount of content types if I kept on going. So I created this chat system that is essentially powered by LLM and uses the RAG architecture design for the system itself. It uses, for those that are technically oriented, it uses Llama Index as the LLM abstraction framework, and it uses MongoDB as a vector database, and also for storing the metadata as well. In a future video, I will show you the steps I've taken to actually create this chat system where we're able to take an audio data, convert it into text, take the text data and take different chunks of the text and place it into a MongoDB database, and then perform vector search and use that to power a chat system powered by a LLM like GPT or Claude or Gemini. So here we can see this is the chat system. So we can start with, what is this conversation about? I've not watched the video, so I would like to know what the conversation's about. And what it's doing right now, it goes to the database and looks at relevant part of the transcript and use that to answer the question I've asked. So you can see the conversation is about the philosophy and design principles behind creating user-centric software products. That's very relevant. Understanding user intent, okay. And also, I guess, looking at the user is never wrong, which is good. Let's ask it a fun question. So I'm asking it this question, and what are the key takeaways? Let's see what it says. And one thing I noticed is as I was using this tool, I really wanted to ask really detailed question and not use the content type. So I was able to then create this chat interface that allowed me to ask more specific question. So for a founder listening to this conversation, the key takeaways would be user-centric design, focus on creating a product that is easy for the users to interact with. So if any of you use OpenSpeech, let me know if this UI user interface is easy to interact with or not. And what's number two? Ease of use. Minimize the steps it takes for the user to engage with your product. Again, let me know if to get to the transcript page, there is too much clicks. Low latency, so prioritize reducing latency and improve user experience. I was talking about the amount of time it takes to extract the audio and process the audio and do all of the data ingestion. I need to reduce the time. So I'm going to be looking into the code and looking into how I can make it faster. And also generated content as well has a bit of latency. So I need to look at how I can reduce it. So there's some things I can control and there's some things that I can't. Okay, so for quality talent. Okay, hiring skilled individuals. This is important for me as well because I use OpenSpeech on a daily basis, but I really want to create a Zoom integration and I want to create a Google Meet integration as well. Basically, I want OpenSpeech to be able to join me in my meetings and just record the audio, then generate all of this for me and put it within the OpenSpeech web platform. So I need to hire someone that is really skilled in creating a Zoom app. If you are that person, reach out to me in the comments and we can build OpenSpeech together. So testing under constraints, yes. There are a lot of bugs in OpenSpeech, so I need to test it and actually basically remove all the little bugs here and there, and pay attention to the minute. Don't know what this word is, but user experience such as having the cursor ready. Okay, all right, they're talking more about perplexity here. One thing is this is not complete. So let's see if I basically tell it to continue, will it be able to continue? Okay, it did. So one thing you can see here is this chat system has a chat history implemented as well. So in the next video, I can show you how I built the chat history into the RAG pipeline, the RAG system. And the chat history goes back to the LLM to give it context of what was previously conversation that was previously held, and it allows it to continue. So we see adaptability and other stuff such as balancing features and predictive functionality. Oh, in terms of predictive functionality, let me show you the last feature of OpenSpeech. So if you go back to the transcript, there is this button here. It's experimental, but if I click get analysis, I'm just gonna move over here. So if I click get analysis, what the algorithm can do is actually look at the transcript and detect certain key aspects of the video that are important. So for example, we can do entity detection, personality detection, tone detection, and topic detection. And there was something that I was experimenting with, which is to detect the number of questions asked in the audio. But yes, so here we can see speaker one is actually Aravind, and speaker two is Lex. And we can see that speaker one, the personality is innovative, detail oriented, and user focused based on the conversation. And we can see that they're really talking about Larry Page. Don't know who Jeff Dean is. They spoke about Chrome, ChatGPT, Karpathy. So I guess that's Andrew Karpathy, Steve Jobs, which is spoke about Gemini, and we're doing all of this entity detection, and this helps maybe for even creating tags for your videos or for your podcast. Speaker two, okay, that's cool. So speaker two is Lex. Spoke about Spotify. Detail-oriented, innovative, and pragmatic. Topics, engineering challenges, product design. Okay, this is something that was useful for me to just get the gist of a conversation from a high level perspective. So that's OpenSpeech, and there are other functionalities such as the ability to email content to yourself or to other people within your team. You can also share this content to LinkedIn, but I've not integrated LinkedIn, but you can actually go to the integration page and add LinkedIn into OpenSpeech, give us the authorization to post on your LinkedIn on your behalf. Then when you go back to an audio page, you can actually, once authenticated, you can directly post to LinkedIn this exact content. So it was one of the features that I needed, that I wanted to implement as well. So where am I going with OpenSpeech? Why did I build OpenSpeech? As in, what's going on with OpenSpeech? So I built OpenSpeech so that I can learn. That's the main reason. I'm a very technically oriented individual. I've worked as a web developer. Now I'm working as an AI engineer or AI stack engineer. And I like building cool stuff. And the best way for me to learn is by building tools like this that allow me to see things from a customer perspective, a developer perspective of using tools that are within our domain. So tools like Llama Index, LangChain, using different OpenAI models, trying different prompt engineering techniques, and all of that is encompassed in this generative AI era. And that's the best way I could learn and create the videos, the educational videos that I do, because I don't just want to do notebooks. Like creating notebooks and sharing the notebooks with you is very good, and I'm going to keep doing that. But there's another dimension of actually building production systems that I need to explore to be able to provide real value to you guys that want to build tools that go into the market and create value for customers. So OpenSpeech is a channel for me to learn more about the customer side of things, the marketing side of things. So this is marketing that I'm doing, talking about my tool on the YouTube channel. So this is also a paid tool as well. We have a subscription service where you can use OpenSpeech for free for about 7 days, and then you have to move on to a paid plan. And this allows me to know what it takes to be a founder, creating a tool, something that creates value. So do try out OpenSpeech. Reach out to me if you have any improvements that you want to make. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or just write some stuff in the comments. And here is a bonus if you made it this far. I listened to a podcast called My First Million, which is hosted by two hosts. So we have Sean and we have Sam, and they are really interesting folks. When I built this tool about a year and a half ago, I messaged Sean and I spoke to him and I said, hey, I built this tool. I sent him a video and I wanted some marketing advice because I'm a very technical person and I don't really have marketing skills, right? And he's very good at marketing. He's sold off a newsletter company for several million. So I thought he would know about marketing. So I reached out to him and I sent him a link video of the product. And he said, well, it's an early version of the product. It didn't look as cool as it does now. And he said, yeah, look, the Watch the Loom, it's a cool product for sure. That's good. Nice. And this was, just to show you the date, this was in 2023, right? So, and this was when we actually had the MVP out. So again, I've not really spoken about OpenSpeech a lot because I built it to learn and not to go to market. Essentially, me and my brother just built it because we're coders, is what we do. But now I guess I'm going to market, seeing what users want as well. Cool product. And then he asked me a question. It's like, hey, what is the number one benefit from using it? Is it the transcripts, or is it the summaries and creating social posts from the episode quickly? All of these are reasons that I built OpenSpeech. But he says all of these are nice to have. He's right. And nothing seems amazing. And this made me think. And he said, hey, it might be tricky to market, which is fair enough. So I couldn't answer the question, but I spoke to him and I said, number one benefit for me as a founder is I can create LinkedIn posts within minutes, right? But the amazing and must-have territory is one that I'm still exploring. And I'll be honest with you, I sent that in 2023 and I'm still exploring that, right? There are times when I use OpenSpeech and I'm like, wow. And those times happens when I have meetings and I'm able to extract the key insight, and it makes me feel like a super professional when I do that, when I'm able to talk to people I'm building apps with and just give them key information from conversations we've had. And I'm able to do that just like that. In even information that I've forgotten, it makes me feel like a super professional. And I've had wow moments with this tool. And other people have. So OpenSpeech has paying users. And by paying users, I mean friends I've showed OpenSpeech to, and they're impressed with it and they're using it in their day-to-day. Now, guys, you can sign up to OpenSpeech and let me know what you think about it. There will be some bugs. I'm gonna be honest. There are some bugs there. I'm gonna try and fix them as they happen. I might hire like a developer to fix them as well. Um, but the same thing I said to Sean, right, which is if there is anything you want AI or OpenSpeech to do, right, that will make you, the creator, the listener, go wow, let me know and I will build it in a weekend, probably. Um, because again, this is the way I learn. This is the way I can provide value to you, exploring the space. So use OpenSpeech. Let me know if there's a feature that you think would be cool to make. And me and my brother, we have coding sessions where we just hack away on a weekend. So that's it. That's it for today. This is the AI Stack Engineer Startup Series. It's not going to be like the other vlogs or whatnot. It's going to be very technical. I'm going to be talking about some in-depth technical topics, how I'm building OpenSpeech, the tech stack. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this different video. It wasn't like a notebook, it was more of a tool. And I'll put this in a different playlist. So those that want the technical stuff, you can just look at the technical stuff. But those that want to follow me on this journey of building a tool that is useful, amazing, and becomes a must-have for customers, follow me on this journey. And I'll also touch on the technical things as well. Thank you for listening. Take care, guys. Happy hacking.